Okay, it looks like we're at the top of the hour now. Everybody, welcome. My name is Spencer. I'm the Chief Product Officer here at Cronometer.com. And yeah, thank you guys for joining me. We are going to go through a quick presentation here, and then we're going to jump into the demonstration, and we'll get all your questions answered along the way. So what are we going to cover in this webinar today? We are going to get through this brief introduction, a little bit of housekeeping, some information for you guys, and then we're going to go do a screen-by-screen demonstration of a bunch of different features. We're really going to focus on the areas where you guys spend the most time in the app. So, that initial setup phase after you've created your account, maybe you want to, specialize for a particular program, and then where you spend most of your time logging food. We're going to find out how to get the most data out of the food that you log and just generally get all the right information that you can use to gain insight into your diet. And then we're going to go into creating custom foods and recipes, because though we have great data, we may not have every single food item that you want. So we can always work around that too. And then if we have time, depending on how many questions and all that, we'll get into some of the data analysis tools that we have available in the app. And like I said, as we go, I'll answer questions. There should be a little Q&A button down somewhere on your webinar UI. So if you would open that up and start entering your questions whenever you have them, I'll answer them as we go. Yeah, so some quick housekeeping information. We don't give personalized nutrition advice. So if you need some personal help on what to do, I would talk to a healthcare professional. As it happens, we have a professional version of Cronometer that people like nutritionists, doctors, and coaches use in their practice. I'll show you guys where you can see a directory of the pros that are using us right now. And then feature requests. Not really going to deal with those in this webinar, but there will be a survey after the webinar that will give you some space to tell us what we can do to make the app better for you. So, like I said, brief survey. You'll get to make your feature requests there. Yeah, and you can vote for questions to be answered if you see one you like in the queue. Just click the like button. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can always email support@cronometer.com. We're pretty responsive, and we should get back to you right away. And then, yeah, so we will put replays up on our YouTube channel. It's usually, it takes a week, so I'll usually get them up by the start of the following week. Yeah, so that's that. And then, so what I want to frame our discussion around today is, why should you use Cronometer to achieve your health and your fitness goals? And the reason is because Cronometer has the most accurate and comprehensive data out there of any of the trackers that are out there. We track over 80 micronutrients, and we've really built the app around understanding that micronutrition data, because ultimately that is what's going to drive your personal health through your diet. And so, like I said, we've built the app around understanding that. And because we focus on the micronutrition, you're going to find that Cronometer is customizable to just about any eating style or any program. And that's because any healthy lifestyle really, is built upon a foundation of getting all the right micronutrients in your diet, apart from other healthy lifestyle choices, of course. And then finally, we're secure. So we recently introduced a two-factor authentication feature, so you can make your account more secure. I'll show you guys how to turn that on. And we also encrypt our data end-to-end. We follow HIPAA guidelines. We're GDPR compliant. We also believe that you, the user, own your own data. So at any point, you can pull all of your data out of the system, and you can delete your data from the system, and that's cool with us if you want to. Well, obviously, hope you don't. But if you had any reason to, you can. And we don't sell any of that data to third parties. So that's just one of our principles, and that's how we run the app. So who uses Cronometer? So like I said before, we have a professional version, and because of that breadth and quality of data that we have on the nutrition, we actually have been able to build some great relationships among larger institutions that are actually using us for academic and clinical research as well, and even with their what is it? Not research programs, but the actual nutrition programs in hospitals with patients. So these are some of the larger organizations that we work with, but we work with trainers, coaches, small practices, everybody in between. So Pro is great, and I'll show you guys how you can check it out at the end of the webinar. So that is my presentation here. So now we're going to jump over to the demo. So what you're seeing here is the mobile app on the left and the web app on the right. And what we're going to do, we're just going to start with the very basics. Yeah, we're just going to start with the very basics and go through how to get all the right stuff out of the app. So we're going to start just by breaking down the sections of the diary here. So up top, you have your food log. And I'm going to jump back and forth between the web app and the mobile app. They've generally, the UI is a bit different on each one. So I want to make sure you guys know how to do, the various actions on both places. So we'll start on the web app. Up here is your food log. You can see all of the items that you've logged for the day. Now I have, you can see I have diary groups turned on. That's actually one of our gold features as part of our paid subscription. We do a gold webinar that talks about all of our gold features and advanced features in the app. We do that tomorrow at the same time. So I'll post a link in the chat so you guys can check that out, and we'll cover all of our gold features then. But up here is where you're going to be logging all your food, where all the entries that you log will be showing up. And then, oh, thank you. And then you have, let's see, yeah, so that's your food log. Then down below here, you're going to see your calorie summary, which is just going to show you, of all that food that you logged up top, how many calories you have eaten so far in the day, how many you've burned, and that's going to be based on a few different things that I'll talk about in just a second. And then you're going to have your calorie budget. So for those of you who are trying to hit a specific calorie goal, maybe you want to lose a little bit of weight, maybe you need to bulk up a little bit. This number here will tell you how many calories you have left to eat to hit that goal for the day. And again, I'll show you guys how to set this up in just a second. Then you have your macronutrient targets. This is going to be your total energy target for the day. Then you have each of your major macro targets as well. So protein, fat, carbs, etc. And you'll notice when I mouse over any of these gauges, I can actually see the foods that are contributing to that particular item. So in this case, protein. And that'll help you kind of spot those foods that are, either throwing your numbers off or anything like that. Down below here, we have all of our individual micronutrient gauges. And again, you can mouse over any of these to see what the major contributors are. But you'll notice there's a bit of a color code going on here, and it helps you get a sense at a high level or at a glance how you're doing on your nutrition at any point in the day. So yellow gauges, they mean that you haven't hit the minimum required target yet for your for that particular nutrient for the day. The green gauges mean you're within that healthy range, and then the red gauges mean that you've gone over the allowable maximum for the day. So the way we pick these targets for all of these micronutrients, by default, when you create your account and you've entered in some of your body details, what we do is we take that information and we map it out to information provided by the Office of Dietary Supplements. They provide us with DRIs for your age and your weight and your a few other factors, and we'll come up with the DRIs that are that they recommend. Now, everything in Cronometer is customizable, so you can always go back and change that. And so that's what we want to jump into now. Now that we've seen the layout of the information that you'll be getting every day, I want to show you guys how to set up Cronometer for basically any program that you want to follow, and then we can get into logging the food and making sure you're getting the right information. So I see there are a couple questions came in. So how can we set up a fast at a specific time? So Bonnie, actually what we do, so the fasting tracking that we have in the app is actually a gold feature. And that's going to be something I cover in tomorrow's webinar. So again, towards the end, I will post the link to that webinar, so you can always join us then. Then we have, cheers. Then we have Rich, any way to add vitamins or supplements to help? And yes, you can add vitamins and supplements. That's something we're just going to cover a little bit later when we get to our custom foods and recipes. So Rich, I got you covered. We'll get there eventually. So settings is where you want to go to, and just before I do this, actually, I want to show you what the diary looks like in the mobile app. So up top here, you have a series of widgets that basically show you a subset. That's my fasting widget. I'll leave that off for now. You can see you have your highlighted nutrient targets, your macro targets, and your calorie summary, which I just showed you on the web. And if you scroll down here, you can see all the items that you log. And if you wanted to see that big, long list of nutrients, like you can see here on the web page, what you can do is you can tap on any of these widgets up top, and you're going to get a little extra detail here. But then you can tap on this thing called Daily Report. And what that's going to do is it's going to take me to all the information that we saw at the bottom of the diary here. So all my vitamins, all my minerals, everything that we track and we're displaying here, you can see that. So that's how you would get to your daily report. How do I get there? So Nancy, not knowing where you're coming from, if this is what you see on the diary, you should see the diary that looks something like this right here. What you can do is you tap on any of the widgets. So I can go, let's say I'm on energy. Here is my energy. I can tap on daily report, and that will get me to that long list of information on the mobile app. Okay. So if we're gonna hop over to settings now, and we're gonna take a look at profile. So profile is the first of several screens that I want to show you where you can actually further customize Cronometer to fit with your program. So what we have here is the body details you would have entered when you created your account. The BMR here is what we determine your daily, it's one of the things we use to determine your total calorie burn for the day. And what the BMR is just the calories that you burn for, to basically stay alive, for your heart to beat, to pump blood, to think, and breathe, all of that, that's going to be kind of rolled up in your BMR. And we use an equation called the Mifflin-St. Jean equation. It should be an adequate estimate for most people. If you're working with a healthcare professional, you can always customize that if they recommend you doing that. But that is going to be where the bulk of your calories are burned for the day. Now, the activity level, this is the setting that I really want to spend some time on here. The activity level is a way to capture the calories that you burn throughout the day, just doing everyday activity. I work from home in my home office, so I'll get up, I'll walk over to the kitchen, I'll make myself some lunch, I'll come back, and maybe I'll run around and play with my daughter a bit. All of that, I'm not actually tracking. I don't log that with our exercise feature. But that does contribute to my overall calorie burn. So that being said, the activity level here is a way to capture some of that. So the way we recommend, we have several settings here. The way we generally recommend people set this is if you have a Fitbit, a Garmin, or something like that, that's actually estimating calories that you're burning each day. So if you have one of those devices, and I think, Paulo, this is going to your question here, and he's asking if you get better estimations from, say, a Garmin. If you have a device like that and you're importing your calories burned, go ahead and set the activity level to none, because we're going to get all of that in from the device, and we don't want any double counting here by setting one of these settings here. Now, if you're like me and you log your workouts using our exercise feature, and outside of that, you're not necessarily super active, well, then sedentary might be a more appropriate setting for you to set. Now, I don't use a Fitbit or anything, which is why I generally recommend most of the population just use sedentary, and that will capture just about your general level of activity. Now, if you're more active, maybe you're working a job that requires you to be on your feet all day, maybe you're in construction or you're an athlete or something, you could always go with one of these higher settings, but it is somewhat subjective. But we get a lot of questions on that, and I just want to give you guys some general advice if you want to use this setting. So, Paulo, I hope that answers your question. So if you're asking what data from Garmin is more accurate, I would say that the calories it imports reflects the calories that you burn through activity throughout the day. I don't think the Garmin captures the BMR, so you're going to want to keep that. The other things over here that I want to just mention briefly is the body fat percentage. This is a measure. Oh, perfect. Thanks, Paula. This is a measure of your body fat percentage that we're going to be using in some of our macro calculations to set some goals for you. So if you know it, great. You can enter that here. If you don't, no big deal. We can, again, do an estimate based on your the body details that you've entered here. So with that, we're going to go over to targets. And so targets is where really we're going to focus on setting up the program that you want to follow. So the first thing that we're going to do is, I'll just zoom in here. We're going to look at our macronutrient target settings. So the first thing to do here is decide how you want to track your carbohydrates. And you have a couple options. One is total carbs, and that's tracking everything. So fibers, starches, sugars, everything that counts as carbohydrates will count towards your total. Then you can also track net carbs as well, so minus fiber. And you can also choose whether or not to count sugar alcohols toward that net carb total. That's really up to you. We provide both options. But once you have that set, you can go down to the macro settings here a bit. So what you're looking at here is how we track our macros, meaning how we determine how many calories are coming from each macro every day. So again, your BMR, the body details you put in, they're going to determine in part your total caloric need for the day. And so then this is going to determine how many calories you're getting from each macro each day. And so macro ratios is the first of our settings. And it's a pretty standard one. It's just a ratio. Many programs that you might follow off the internet tell you kind of what ratios to shoot for. But you can come in here and you can edit those things at will. And what will happen is you're going to see so if this ratio here says 38% of my calories will come from protein, 38% will come from carbohydrates, and 25% will come from fat. And so what's great about the ratios calculation is that this is actually dynamic. So when you've been following a program for a couple weeks and you have logged a new weight, maybe you lost a few pounds. When you log that new weight, this calculation, if you have macro ratio set, it will change with your new weight. So now all of a sudden you'll get your new macro targets based on your new weight and your new requirements. Now, if you have, so fixed values on the other hand, what you can do with fixed values is set a specific target that will not change as you maybe lose weight or gain weight or whatever. You can actually come in here, set a specific energy target, a specific protein, carb, and fat target as well. And those, again, those won't change. Those will be the targets day to day, no matter what happens. And then finally, we have a ketogenic calculator. So for those of you doing a ketogenic diet, this is probably the setting that you want to use. The way we do this is another dynamic calculation. So as your body changes, you will, it'll update with you. But the way we calculate this is we look at your lean body mass, which is determined by that body fat percentage measure that I mentioned earlier. So we'll take that percentage, we'll figure out what your lean body mass is. And then you can set a multiplier of grams of protein per kilogram of lean body mass. And that will allow us to calculate an amount of protein for you for the day. And then you can set a fixed amount of carbohydrates that you're allowed for the day. So I have 25 set here. Now that'll reflect, if I go to total carbs, that'll change to say total carbs. Whatever my carb setting is up here, it will be reflected in the ketogenic calculator. And then finally, if you want to use the athletic bonus, what that does is it allows, anytime you log activity, whether I think it's through a device or or exercise specifically, whether it's through a device or via our exercise feature. So basically what you do is, I saw a question coming in, threw me off there. So every 50 calories of exercise or at 50 calories that you burn through exercise, it will give you an extra gram of carbohydrates that you can eat throughout the day. So yeah, so we have some kind of pre-built settings here, but you can always use custom to build it however you like. Now, we have a couple questions in here. If I want to do net carbs, so minus fiber, but I also want to deduct sugar alcohols off net carbs. So when you say deduct sugar alcohols off net carbs, what this means is, so net carbs without sugar alcohols. The without setting will not count sugar alcohols towards your net carb total, okay? With sugar alcohols will count the net carbs towards your net carb total. So depending on whether or not you want them to count, you choose with or without. Using Dr. Boz Keto Lifestyle Coach. Dr. Boz is great. What I like to use. That is not a question, but I appreciate it, Rich. All right, cool. So, right. So that is our macro settings. Nutrient targets, I'll come back to in just a second. The next setting I want to show you guys is your weight goal. So here you can set your current weight. We'll get that when you start. And then you can also set a weight goal. And so you can choose to, you can kind of see how long it'll take you if you set a weight goal and a current weight and a weight loss rate. So you can lose weight or you can gain weight in half-pound increments, and that will affect your total caloric need for the day. So for example, I think it's really small type on the screen probably. So if you see I want to lose a pound a week, that means I need about an average of 499 calorie deficit per day. And again, this will determine that total caloric need for the day. And by showing this weight goal in diary, this setting here, this will, like I showed you earlier, tell you exactly how many calories you have left to eat in the day. So now that we know more about, nutrient targets. So the nutrient targets, these show you all the vitamins, minerals, all the micronutrients that we track in our app. You'll notice that not everything is visible by default, but you can always turn on or turn off the ones that you want to see or not. So, and on top of that, because like I said, we use the DRIs as our starting point for determining how many or how much of each micronutrient you should get during the day. You can also go and customize any of those targets. So if you're working with a healthcare professional or you have special needs in certain areas, then you can always change those targets here just by clicking the custom checkbox and then clicking into the numbers to set a minimum and maximum daily target. And so that's how you would do that. So now we're going to jump back to the diary, and before we jump into logging food, I just want to show you how to get to those settings on the mobile app. So down here we have our settings icon. We'll just tap that. And then you have the profile section here, which is the same one as profile on the web. You have your body fat percentage or activity level. Excuse me. Then you can come down to targets. There's your macronutrient targets. You have your settings in here that you can change. And then we have weight goal. Set all of that stuff up right here. And finally, we have nutrient targets. Now, it's a few screens in, so you can jump in here to look at your vitamins. You go each one of the sections that we have, you can jump in here and customize or choose whether or not to see them in the main area. And that is how you get to those. So now back on the diary, I want to show you guys. Oh yeah, sure, Lee. Let's just make sure we answer that question. So sorry, I am still not sure. I'm diabetic, and so I need to find no sugar alcohols. Okay, so you do not want to. Sorry, no sugar alcohols and net carbs plus sugar alcohols. Which do I choose? So okay, Lee, type this in the chat if you can, or the question. So you're just to clarify, you're not supposed to have any sugar alcohols, is that right? Or they're allowed? Okay, you're not allowed to have them. So what I would say then is so in that case, you're really not supposed to since you're not supposed to be eating them, I don't think it really matters which one that you choose. But if you want to, oh, okay, come on. Hey, Carissa, would you mind getting Ez out? That's okay. I left the door unlocked. My daughter just decided to barge in. Sorry about that, guys. Anyway, sorry, guys. So, yeah, okay. So you do need to count them. Sorry, thank you, Lee. I appreciate that. So what you want to do is you want to choose net carbs with sugar alcohols. So that will count the sugar alcohols towards your net carb total. Sorry for the confusion there. Hopefully that clears that up. Cool. All righty. So now let's go to where was I? Okay, so we've got the diary. So now we want to get into logging food and how to get the best data out of the food in our app. So go ahead. We're going to start. I'm just going to break down the components of the. Oops, there we go. I just want to break down the components of our search dialog here. So when you click add food on the diary, you're going to get a dialog here that has a couple of different components. First, you're going to see a whole bunch of different tabs, each of which I'll explain in a sec. And then down here, you're going to see a default list of foods that we show you once you start using the app. Now, by default, I think that's just going to be the list of foods here is just going to be the things that are most logged on the app. So no big deal there. But as you start using the app, as you start logging foods frequently, we're going to start populating this list with the foods that you log most frequently. So hopefully when you open up this dialog, you're going to see it and be like, oh, hey, that's actually what I wanted to eat right there. Hopefully we start to build that shortcut in through the usage of the app. But in the All tab, you can search for pretty much anything. Restaurant foods, custom foods, pretty much anything that you want. You'll notice here, though, zoom in, that on the far right column in the source, you're going to see these icons, these red icons. We also have ones that look like barcodes. We'll also have one for custom foods too. But if you see the red icon, what that means is that the food item that has that icon associated with it is a high quality food item. It will have tons of data available on it, and you're going to know that if you log that to your diary, you're going to get quality information in the summary area down there. So for example, I click on bacon here, we have data for over 77 listed nutrients for this food. So that's great. That's a very good number, and you can be sure then that you're going to be getting some good data there. Now, on the other hand, let's take a look at so you can see here's the barcode icon on the side. This is the branded items, Trader Joe's. So you can see the database there as well. So you'll know, so let's check that out. So rolled oats, we come down here, we see only 17 listed nutrients. So so when you actually are logging a lot of branded food, your data quality probably won't be as good. And this is because the food manufacturer, they are not required by law to supply all that much information to the end consumer in terms of what nutrition is in that food. However, scroll down just a little bit here, you can see we noticed that if you're logging this item here, we've noticed we have an equivalent item that is a much higher quality, that has much higher quality data. We will alert you to that fact down at the bottom here. And so if you click on this link, we're going to switch you over to that higher quality food. And then you can log that and get much better data. So we try to help you guys find the foods that are going to be most useful for you in terms of understanding your nutrition. Now, the other thing you can do, back out of that, is you'll notice that there is a little star here next to a food. Any item you can set as a favorite by clicking this star here, and then it's going to show up in this next tab, your favorites tab. And so if you have say an approved foods list from the program that you're working on, or maybe you just want to keep a short list of foods you like to eat every day or every week. You can build that list here using our favorites feature, and then you can access that really quick. Now the common foods tab is going to be only items of high quality. So they're only going to be items with these red lab icons that have 70, 80 different micronutrients that we have data for anyway. And so like if you want to, I always recommend, if you want to get the best data possible, start your search in the common tab. And if you can't find what you're looking for, maybe kind of jump over to all, and then you'll get those restaurant foods, the branded foods off the shelf. You can use the all tab if you're not finding what you're looking for in the common foods. And also in the common foods tab, what you can do, so take that brand example that we just saw, Trader Joe's rolled oats. That item was in our database. However, rolled oats was another item in our database without any branding information, and it had much better data. So if you have an item, so say an apple or an orange, just search the item without the brand. And that will help you find, if it's in our database, you'll find it much easier without using a brand name. Now, if it's like some packaged food that's like a combination of ingredients, chances are that won't work. But that being said, even in our, let's jump over to brands here. In our brands tab, some of the popular brands that have been around for a while, like Coke, Pepsi, Kraft Ranch dressing here, for example, we have some really good items, really good data on some of these items. So you might just find some of the branded items that you're looking for too. And again, I'd always just start in that common foods tab to get better data. Now the supplements tab, Rich, this is the first place if you are looking for a supplement, excuse me, you can always jump here to search for that and see if it pops up. And we'll get to how to add your own in a second. So the supplements will contain things that are flagged as dietary supplements in our database. Brands, like I just said, you'll be able to find some of your store-bought brands here, and this will include both high quality and some of the lower quality entries. Restaurants as well. We even have some really well-tested restaurant items in here too. And then your custom tab is going to show all the items that you've created yourself, or that you have had shared with you by a pro or by another user. Sharing foods with one another is a gold feature. It's part of our paid subscription, but you can essentially share your custom recipes with family members or friends or accountability buddies, so that you guys can be on the same page when you're logging your diet. So that is going to be how you're going to get a lot of information out of your food search. But I also want to show you something that we do on the mobile app here. So let's see. Let's do this first. So we have a barcode scanner, and I want to show you Multiad on the mobile app. So let me do this. I'm going to jump forward. Oh, here's an empty day. So I'm going to go ahead and add food on the mobile app. Now, again, we show you that list of foods you log most frequently. And up here, there's a little icon you can tap that will open up this shelf on the side. You can then change your sort of that list there. So most frequent is default selected. And you can sort by alphabetical or just most recent. You can access the filters, the tabs here that I showed you on the web app. So all favorites, common, those are all here as well on the mobile app. You can even select your individual database if that's something that you want to do. Now, what I want to show you though on the mobile app is this ability to enable multi-add. So if I do that, you can see now I have all these little boxes here. Now what I can do, is I can tap these boxes. If I can use my left hand correctly. Nope, I cannot. So I can tap all these boxes and enable them. And then just with one tap or a couple taps, I can add all of those things to the diary rather than having to search each thing individually. So this is a great way to just kind of quickly add the foods that you like to your diary. You can always come in and edit those later. Also on the mobile app, I want to show you guys our barcode scanner. So I wonder if this is going to work. We're going to see. So we have a barcode scanner right here. So I'm going to go ahead and tap that. Okay. So now I'm going to scan this barcode. This is a box of pens. Oh, actually, I had created the food. Damn. So hang on a sec, guys. I'm just going to delete this food so we can stumble around. Oh, that's interesting. Anyway, so what we do is, let me see if I can find another barcode here to scan. This will do. Okay. Take two. Scan the barcode. We're going to scan this box here, which is not food. So we don't actually have a food item associated with this barcode in our database. So what we ask you to do is you can actually create a new food by tapping create new. And then you can tap this, take a photo of the nutrition label here. So I'm going to show that. There's the nutrition label. So I'm going to use this photo, and I'll take a picture of the front as well. Use photo. Now you'll notice it says reading label there under the top photo, and it just said autofill successful. So this is awesome because now what I can do is you can see all the information that was on that that nutrition label has actually been read into the app via the camera. And now you guys don't actually have to manually enter anything when you're scanning new items. So had that item been in our database, you would have just gotten the results. You could log it just like any other food. But if it isn't, you don't even have to worry about entering in all the information manually. And so, Rich, if you have a supplement that you can't find and it has a barcode, you can scan that with the mobile app and then read the label and get all that information in, and then you can start logging it right away. And so you go and you save that food, and you can then log that food to your heart's content. And what's even cooler about that is that all that information that you gathered by taking the photos and having all that stuff imported gets sent to us. And then our team will actually review that data, make sure that it's correct, make sure that we don't have any duplicate entries or anything like that. And then we'll make it available to everybody who's using the app. It's a really cool feature. So that is food logging. The next thing that I want to show you guys is actually how to manage your diary. So now that you have, yeah, for sure. Rich, you can definitely add those items in via the barcode scanner, or you can do it manually, which I'll show you guys how to do in just a second. So now that we have food in our diary, I actually want to show you guys a little bit more about how to manage those items once they're actually in your diary. Because a lot of times we end up eating the same things every day, or similar things, and you know, you don't necessarily want to search out a whole day's worth of food one item at a time every single day. So what we can do there, we have a feature. So I'm going to jump to a day in the future here, and I'll just go ahead and delete these. So one of the features you can access on the web is if you click this more options menu, there's going to be a copy previous day. Go ahead and click that. And what will happen is everything in the previous day will be taken and put in the current day exactly as it was laid out in that previous day. So if you're following a template every day, you want to kind of stick to those foods, or maybe you're just eating the same thing every day each week, you can just copy previous day, get those items in there, and then work off of those items. And once you have them in there, all you have to do to edit them is click on any of the numbers here. You can edit those numbers. You can also edit the units going in here, and you can change the unit as well. Now notice when I change the unit here, the number actually changed with it. What happens when you change the unit? We will convert the current amount to the new amount in the new unit. So I went from a 20 ounce of coffee to a single ounce unit, so now it changed to 20. Good question, Lee. I'll get to that in a sec. So that's how you can edit foods once they're in. Now, the other thing you can do is you can right-click on any of the foods, and you're going to get a little bit more, some more options here. If you want to see more details, you can click on View and Edit Selected. You can copy a single item, and then you can right-click anywhere and select Paste, and a new one of those items will appear. And then you can also right-click and delete that item. Now, if you wanted to, let's say, I'm going to go ahead and go up here again. There's a Copy Current Day. So if I select that, I can go to any day in the future. I'll click this again, I'll hit Paste. And now it's going to paste everything from the day that I copied in to the new day exactly as I will. So copy previous day works with, like, sequential days, whereas copy current day, you can jump around and paste it to anywhere you'd like. So go ahead and clear all those, and then clear all will delete everything if you mess up the day. Right. So let's see. So Lee, you added a bunch of food from the barcode scanner already before knowing about common. Is there a way to click on them and see the better common food to change them? So I don't think what we do, I don't think we can tell on a food that you just added via the barcode scanner. We actually have to go in and do some work to make the association there. So what you can do is, if you have a food that you scanned in, the best thing you can do is say, all right, whatever that is, just go to the common tab, see if you can find something equivalent, log it, and then delete the other one. That's the best thing I think you can do if you've already logged the item and already scanned the item. Okay. And then we've got Frederick. Wow, cool. Thanks, Rich. How do you delete foods you added accidentally? Oh, yeah. You have a Mac laptop with a finger pad, no mouse, so I can't right click. Oh, you should be able to, so I don't know, let me see. So I also have a MacBook with a finger pad, so let's see what happens. So just by, you can select it. I think if you do a two finger click, it will treat it as a right click. So, so I'm using the finger pad right now. So yeah, if you use two fingers to tap to click, you should get the menu here. Now, if that doesn't work, you can just click it, come up here to the More Options menu, I believe. Yeah, delete selected items. So if you have an item selected, come up here, delete selected items, and it will delete the item. So that'll do that. Cool, wonderful. All right. Okay, so oh yeah, so now I want to show you guys what that looks like on the mobile app. So, because the UI is a little more slick here. So let's see. So on the mobile app, to edit something that you've already logged, you just tap on the item, and it'll show up here. So I can edit the amount. I can, change the serving size. I can actually even scroll down to see everything, all the nutrition information about that. So I can save it. Now, if I wanted to, oh, that's the one I deleted. Cool. So now if I wanted to delete something, all I have to do is swipe to the left and it will delete it. You can do a long swipe, or you can just reveal the button and tap it. Then also, if you swipe to the right on any item, you're going to get the More Options menu for that item. So if I tap that, you can see I can look at the item, I can delete it, I can copy it, same deal. So if I copy something, let's go down here to this one, and then I can do anywhere else. Now that I've had something copied, I can paste it, and there it goes right there. And so you can also delete something this way as well. Now, if you want to take actions on multiple items, you want to go up to this option here, three-dot menu. Now, you have your copy current day, copy previous day, your paste, and delete all entries, just like I showed you on the web. And what you can do is, we also have this option called multi-select. Now, you'll see that there are options just like I showed you guys before on Multiad. Now I can select the items that are already in the diary. Now I'm in multi-select mode. Let's go back up here. And now I have a number of different options to perform on those selected items. So I could copy those. I could jump to a day in the future, and I could tap this again, and I'll be able to paste. And there are all there. Oops, there we go. There are all my items pasted in where I wanted to paste them. Yeah, there they are right there. So, yeah. So anyway, highlight on my Mac. I just highlight and hit the. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So that is some of the diary management that you're going to be able to do on the mobile and web app. And again, this is great for longer term planning, or day-to-day planning and managing your diary. If you have different things you're adding, you don't feel like searching all those things over and over. Now what I want to do is I want to go through our food and recipe editor. So if you want to create custom items, you can. If you want to create custom recipes, you can. So cooking your meals with different ingredients. But one of the things that's really cool that I want to show you is how to create full-on daily meal plans. So all the effort that it would take, even with our shortcuts like Multiad and things like that, you can actually, with our meal planning kind of trick here, you can actually basically log your entire day's worth of eating with just a single item. So to do that, I'm going to hop over to the Foods tab, and we're going to start. I'm just going to pay a little lip service to our food editor. So if you have a food that you want to enter into our system to use, and it has a barcode, just use the mobile app, use the barcode scanner. It'll be way easier. If you had to enter it manually, you can come to the food editor and just fill out all of this information. You're going to have to enter each of the items from the nutrition label manually if for some reason you can't scan the barcode. But if you have a barcode, I highly recommend just using the app. It's way easier. But when it comes to custom recipes, you're going to have a lot of cool options here. So you can click on Add Recipe. So the first thing you want to do is create a name. If you want, you can set a category. You can set some tags here as well, whether it's vegetarian, vegan friendly, whatever you like. We have a few there. It just helps our search algorithm and how to categorize the food. And excuse me, in the notes section, if you have some preparation instructions, you can put those there. And then serving sizes. So let's say you're making lasagna, and we can name it. What this will basically do when you edit the servings per recipe, it will basically divide up all of the ingredients that you add here according to the amounts that you put here. So for example, so actually let's add some ingredients first, and it'll be a little more obvious. So adding ingredients is just like adding or searching food and logging it to your diary. Those items will show up here. Just gonna pick a few at random. Very strange combination. So, so what we have here, now we have a few ingredients. We can see all the nutrition for the full recipe, right? But then you can also, based on the serving sizes, you can look at the serving size for, say, a quarter, which is one of the ones that I defined up here, which is about, well, it's a quarter of the entire recipe. So you can see that here. And so you can then save that. You can save that item. You can save that item, and then it will become available to you to search and to log to your diary. So that's just the starting point. And so, Suzanne, to answer your question, we don't have a recipe importer so you can grab one off like your favorite website, but that is coming. We are working on that. So that will be a feature that we release hopefully, let's say by the end of the year, maybe the start of the next. But I can't really put a timeline on it just yet. So creating a single recipe from some ingredients is kind of the starting point. So I'm going to show you guys. Here I have something called, save that, Lunch 7, right? So in Lunch 7 here, I actually have a couple different, actually this is a bad example. Let me try, Lunch 1. So in my Lunch 1 here, I actually have another custom recipe that I've already created. And then I have a few other food items that constitute the whole meal. And what you can do is you can start to basically put whole meals in, basically custom recipes within custom recipes to create a meal. And then you can take those meals and put them into another custom recipe to create a whole daily meal plan. So for example, if I click on this meal plan day 1 that I created previously, you can see I have dinner 1, lunch, breakfast, all packaged into a single recipe. Now watch how easy this is once you've created this stuff. So we'll jump to an empty day. So if I hit add food, and I'll just go to all here and I'll type in meal plan. So there they are, meal plan day 1 through 7. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on meal plan day 1. So I'm going to add that. And now I have all of my nutrition information filled out for the day. Awesome. Now it's not clear what I'm eating. So you can see just by right clicking on the item, I can click on explode recipe, and that will break up the whole item there into its ingredients. So then, it's because I have my categories enabled, I will just go ahead and put them in their proper place here. And then if you want to see exactly what you're eating, that's not quite right. Well, if you want to see exactly what you're eating, you can go explode individual meals. And then, like, less than a minute, you have your entire day of eating laid out for you. And then you can go, maybe you didn't have the half and half, or maybe you only had half a teaspoon of half and half. You can edit those items in line, and then you have your entire day of eating completed. So again, this is just it's such a great planning tool. I highly recommend that if anybody's seriously following a program, try to put your meals together in meal plans, and it will just greatly reduce the effort when it comes to logging your food every day. So, so that's what I want to show you there. Let's see, we are running pretty low on time here, guys. So if you guys have any questions, I'll take a quick pause and I'll show you a few other things before we go. I'll just, oh, actually, while we're waiting, if you guys have more questions, you want some more information, tomorrow's session will be, both today's and tomorrow's session will be recorded. Like I said, they'll go up on our YouTube channel. Probably I'll get them up there by the start of next week. So yeah, cool. So yeah, if you have some more questions and you're not on a webinar like this one to ask questions, you can go to our help section. So our Cronometer University here, you can go to, that'll just link to our YouTube channel. You can check out all of our previous sessions like this one, where you kind of go through and you can see how we use the app and all the different things that all the features and all the questions that I'm answering. If you want to find a professional, let's see, found a professional, you can jump in here, and this will take you to our professional directory. You can search on the pros based on, specialty, their location, everything, that you might want here, and you can always jump in, view their listing, see what they specialize in, contact details, all that stuff. We have our support channel here. We have a user manual that's very extensive. Oh, I'm so glad to hear that, Rich. I hope the app serves you well as you're working with Dr. Boz. And then we have a blog that's more of like some just company information. You can always find out more. Our forums, however, we have a lot of longtime users on our forums who are very helpful. So if you have anything, you can post it up there. Generally, you'll get an answer to from those people. I did want to show you one thing. If you go to your account tab, settings account, you can set up two-factor authentication. This is where you would go to do that. That'll give your account some extra security. I feel like there was one other thing that I wanted to show you today. What was it? Oh yeah, sorry. So devices. If you guys have devices that you want us to integrate with, let us know. But here are the devices that we integrate with today. And today we actually just released our integration with Keto Mojo. So if you have a Keto Mojo device, you can link it to Cronometer, and all your data will be imported into the app. So it's a great way to track your data. But we didn't get to it. I'll just tease it out. You got your Trends tab here, where you can actually start to visualize all your data over time and see how things are changing based on the changes you're making to your diet. All right, Paulo, you've got a question here. The amount of macronutrients, to me, it shows too much proteins. Would you have any hint on how to check out if that's right? Okay, so for specific, so without knowing your settings, Paulo, I think your best bet is to, so our, which setting do you have it on? Do you have the ketogenic calculator, macro ratios? You can type that in the chat, and I can try to troubleshoot it here if you want. So anyway, so yeah, so that's another new big feature that we just released. It's pretty great. And then, oh yeah, and I'm also going to grab for you guys before we go, going to grab for you the link to tomorrow's webinar, which is all about our gold features. Let's see if I can find it. One second, near there. Okay, and coming in on the chat. If you guys want to join me tomorrow for the gold webinar, you can use that link there. All right, Paulo, macro ratios. Yeah, so without knowing the other settings, I would say, let's see, you can go to settings, you can go to targets. I would just watch your ratios here because, so here's one thing to note. It's going to be hard for me to actually troubleshoot this on this call. I would think your best bet is to write into support if you have a question about why it's showing a specific number. Obviously, we can't tell you, we're not going to be able to give you specific nutrition advice, but to understand what you want, just know that for every gram of protein, you get 4 calories. For every gram of carbohydrates, you get 4 calories in energy. But for every gram of fat, you get 9 calories. And so getting that ratio right can sometimes throw you off. If you know you want a lot of protein and maybe not a lot of fat, you actually may not want that drastic of a difference in ratios because you're going to get a lot more energy out of fat. So, if you have a specific gram amount of protein that you want, you might want to try fixed values and set that here. But without knowing exactly what type of program you're trying to set up, it's going to be a little bit hard to help. So I would say email support@cronometer.com, and we can definitely get you some help there. All right, guys. Well, we're just about ready to wrap up. Oh, damn it. Hang on a sec, guys. I see. My chat by default is set to, there it is, set to all panelists. So it should go out to you guys now. So yeah, I'll give you a minute to grab that if you want to join me tomorrow. Oh, we got a few more questions come in. Which what is it? Rich, what is her favorite one? It's like it's not the extra, it's the, I know the name, it's on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, that is we are planning on adding those eventually. I don't know when, so. Favor? No, I can't remember. It's like, I feel like it starts with like an extra or something like that. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here. Hopefully I'll see some of you tomorrow. And but yeah, I hope this was helpful. Let me know in the survey if that was if you have any feedback or if you have any feature suggestions. I really appreciate your time. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.